Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be reviewing the RAVEMEN K1800 Smart Bike Headlight. RAVEMEN's K series of headlights are budget-friendly single LED designs with some interesting smart features. In this review, we're going to be looking at the K1800, which is one of the brightest and smartest headlights in the lineup. Packaging-wise, you can see very simple. You have a black and orange box with the RAVEMEN logo, nice graphic of the headlight itself, then a lot of specs printed on it, including all the output modes. I'll go ahead and open this up. We'll go over the specs. Retail price on this is $84.99, which is actually pretty affordable given the fact that it's 1800 lumen output. You have an ambient light sensor as well as a motion sensor on here, so it can actually use a lot of smart modes to automatically turn off or adjust its output based on the ambient light. It also has an AI learning mode, which is what they call their night mode, which is kind of an adaptive mode that'll adjust the output to extend the runtime, and as your eyes adjust, it'll reduce the output. You also have USB Type-C charging, so very easy to charge with any cable, and they also include a wireless remote to control it from your handlebars. As far as what comes with it, you can see the headlight itself, quite compact, given the 1800 lumen output. A USB to USB-C cable. You have a GoPro adapter with the bolt. You have two O-rings that go with the wireless remote, so it goes on the hooks. The warranty card, user manual, and you also have a simple handlebar mount with this tab design that matches the mount on the actual light. Now let's take a look at the weight of the light. So the headlight by itself comes in at 179 grams. And then the wireless remote with the longer band is 17 grams. And then finally the handlebar mount, that is 16. Visually, the RAVEMEN K1800 has a standard rectangular design with a black metal body. With this being the 800 lumen version, the light has a high capacity 5000 milliamp internal battery with the same single LED lens that's shared with the other K series. In terms of dimension, the headlight is actually pretty tiny. It's 106 by 34 by 37 millimeters, which is quite compact given the high output. Branding is limited to K1800 printed on the side, and you can see it's almost a label printed on top of the body. You have RAVEMEN on top, and then K1800 on the other side. It's a nice metal body as well, so it feels premium, has a nice weight to it. You have a rubber button on top, which is actually backlit, so you can actually see it's green right now. Then you have this little glossy cutout above it, and this has the ambient light sensor. That's a little circle there, so it can detect the light around you. And then this little indicator, which indicates smart mode or the AI mode. On the back, you also have the USB Type-C charging port, which is always nice to see. So a very modern interface, and you can see a nice little rubber cover to keep the water out of it. On the front, you have that single LED lens with these nice vertical deflectors to spread the light. And then you can also see there's heat diffusers on the bottom. Given the higher output of this, it is going to get hot. So they built in the heat fins that run down the middle of the light and help disperse some of that heat. As far as mounting, you can see it has a standard tab design. So you can see two raised tabs. It's almost trapezoidal shape that's actually just bolted onto the body. This will slide into the corresponding mount. So you can see there's a little notch there. That'll match the little tab on the mount. So that's what locks it in place. So a nice click, and you can see it's rigid, but you have a little bit of angular adjustment, which is always nice. So if you want to adjust the angle, you can just tilt it. When you want to remove it, you just push down on the tab button and then drag it forward, and you can see it comes out as this little tab will go out of the groove in the corresponding mount on the taillight or the headlight itself. So a pretty simple design. We would have liked to see a standard Garmin quarter turn one, but this one is more narrow and fits the body of this. You can also flip this light upside down. It's a non-directional beam, so you can run it upside down and then use the GoPro adapter. So similar design with a little tab. So it'll slide in, not quite a nice of a click, but you can see it's simply there, and then you can pull it out by releasing that tab. So you can run it upside down or on the top. The mount is a very simple design. You can see that angular adjustment here, and then a rubber strap with the RAVEMEN logo, and nice thick design that should last a while. You also have a wireless remote, and that mounts with simple O-rings, a short or long one, depending on the handlebar. And then you can see it just goes through these little hooks on each side. As far as the lens, this is part of the anti-glare lineup from RAVEMEN, but it's a very simple design. You can see these vertical diffusers, and that helps disperse the light horizontally. So you can see the beam shape, rather than just being a cone, it's actually more of a rectangle. So you can see it spread out, but it has a glare. So you can see it has a standard cone profile from the side. So you can see if you're in front of it, you're definitely gonna have glare. So you do want it tilted downward. But with this vertical diffuser design, you can see you have a much wider beam. That'll distribute the light when you're riding. You do have nice side cutouts as well. So you can see from side angles, the light is still visible, even when the beam itself is not. As far as the user interface, pretty simple, single button, and it is backlit, which is a little bit hard to see here. You can single press it once, and then it'll either be green, yellow, or red to indicate the battery status. Holding it for 1.5 seconds turns it on, and then you have a single level menu. So you have high, low, medium, and then you have 2 flash modes, a night flash and a day flash. So pretty simple setup, lets you easily switch the mode you want. There's also additional features. So if I turn the light off and then hold it for 3 seconds, you'll actually see this blue light turn on. So this is the smart mode. So depending on the light output, if I cover this up, if it thinks it's nighttime, you can see it goes to a medium mode. Then if it thinks it's daytime and brighter, I'll actually switch over to the daytime flash. So kind of a nice feature, and that helps you maximize the battery output, and you don't have to press the button. However, it doesn't automatically go in that mode. You always have to do that 3.5 second mode, a long hold to activate that mode. Otherwise, it'll go back to the last mode. There's also an AI mode, which is kind of cool. So if I do a 5 second hold, and you wait for this to start flashing, so then now I'm in AI mode. And with this one, it'll use the ambient light sensor to dictate whether it should be on or off. And then in lower visibility conditions, it'll turn on to the medium mode and then gently ramp down. And depending on the AI learning, if I cover it up, you can see it goes back daytime or nighttime mode with a nice bright output. And during the daytime, it'll shut off again to extend the battery life. What I believe the AI mode is simply extend the ramping. So we have seen adaptive modes with other lights, which actually just ramp down as your eyes get used to it. You don't need 1800 lumens. You can actually ramp down to 1000 and you wouldn't actually notice. So it's kind of a cool feature, and it's cool to see AI integrated in this way. You also have the wireless remote. So with this one, a single press will cycle through the options. And then you have the high output mode, so the bottom button, kind of hard to see here, but the bottom one goes in the full 1200 lumen, the full 1800 lumen output. And then the top one will cycle through modes. You can see whether I'm in the smart mode or the AI mode, they'll automatically turn off once you switch the mode with the button on top or the button on the wireless remote. So it'll cycle through the options, and then you can power it off by simply holding the button. So kind of a nice setup. So you can put this on your out front mount and this closer to your hands. Now let's take a look at the output modes of the K1800. There are 4 different constant modes and then 1 flash. You can see you have high, medium, low, and eco, and each one of them have a pretty big drop in value, where high is the full 1800. And then you can see eco is really dim at 250 lumens with the longer runtime of 8 hours. The best runtime here is pulse. It gives you 25 hours, but it's more of a nighttime pulse, so it's a low-high. It's not really a true daytime flash, which is a little bit weird that they didn't include. Here you can see some riding footage, and you have a really nice wide beam. It's just a standard cone beam, no anti-glare design, but it does have these horizontal diffusers that spread it out. So you can see it's kind of a spot beam, but wider. And the high and medium modes are more than enough for fast riding. They really light up the road, but again, because they're not anti-glare, you want to be careful. Here you can see a good example of why the 1-level menu is not a good idea. You do have to cycle through flash modes if you want to adjust intensity, which can be really distracting when you're riding at night. So it would have been nice if that was a double click or some other operation. There also are some smart modes here. The auto mode is nice, so it goes between low, medium, depending on the ambient light. It would have been nice if there was a daytime flash instead, where it could switch between daytime flash during the day and then go to the medium mode instead of just doing the pulse mode here and the medium mode. Also, the AI mode, it's really hard to come up with numbers, but it does adjust the ramping So it'll dim it out as you ride longer, and that helps extend the runtime as you don't really need high the entire time once your eyes adjust. It's kind of a cool feature, but a little bit of a gimmick here, obviously. A standard adaptive like we see with the outbound lights is more than enough. Here we have both the K700 and the 1800, and what's remarkable is they're very similar in size. Same lens, same user interface. This one gets the AI features with the 1800. And you can see slightly longer as it has a bigger battery, but almost identical otherwise in shape. Same mounts, but this one does have heat fins to accommodate the higher output. Also with the K1800, you do get the wireless remote included. That is an option on the other K models like the 700, but you do have to buy it separately. Now, if we compare these models with other lights on the market, you can see that it's very similar in shape. We have the RAVEMEN 1500 for Magicshine. Probably one of our favorite with the anodized design, so definitely stands out. Single button press to check the battery status. And what's nice about Magicshine is it's a lot more visible. It's hard to see the actual color of this without covering it up. So you can see it's green. But with the Magicshine, you can see it in broad daylight. The beam shapes are also very similar. This has the horizontal diffuser, so it slightly reduces the output on the top and increases it on the bottom, while the RAVEMEN lights just have a standard cone shape, but a wider beam. So you can see how this is just more round. And then the RAVEMEN one is more of a rectangle as they spread out. So it does help when you're riding, but it would have been nice to see horizontal diffusers as well to reduce the glare. But this one is reversible while the Magicshine is not reversible as it's directional. There's also tons of options out there. So we have the IGP Sport, which is a top mount design, 1200 lumen light. Feels a little more premium as you have this nice silver cutout. And you can see the beam shape is just a standard cone. So nothing too special. No AI features or useful smart features. They also have some of the ambient light sensor as well as the feature for the auto sleep. But with the IGP Sport, it actually turns it off completely rather than having a smart mode. So I do like the fact that RAVEMEN has a smart mode that switches between day and night. We also have the KNOG blinder. So it's kind of a mountain biking style light with the 4 LEDs. Spot and flood beams. And what's cool about the blinder is they have a reversible mount. So you can use the same mount. It has a little clip-on design. And you can see you just pull it off. So you loosen it. And then you can flip it around. So you can put it underneath or on top and just flip the mount, which is kind of cool rather than dealing with adapters. We also have the Lightskin U8. This is a much more advanced beam. So you can actually see it has a high and low beam. And it actually has a beam cutoff. So something you don't get with the RAVEMEN lights. This costs a little bit more, but you can see a nice sharp beam cutoff so you won't blind people. So when you're riding, you don't have glare, which is a really nice design. But obviously you pay a little bit more. And it has a reversible mount design, which is really cool. So Garmin mount, just bolts on, you can flip it around. So you can put this above or below by just flipping the mount and keeping the buttons where they should be. While with the K1800 or 700, when I flip it, the button is actually hidden. So it makes it harder to use as you have to put your hand underneath. There's also the Trek Commuter Pro. This has more features, so quite a bit more expensive. And it has this kind of cool feature with the light lens shape. So you can see I can control a taillight and the headlight with one button. So you can pair it with a Trek taillight, and it has a nice sharp beam cutoff. Not quite as crisp as some other models, but you do get the nice anti-glare design and these big orange reflectors on the side. If you're looking for a light with a removable battery, Phoenix is probably one of the few. So this one has basic shape, and you can see I can actually open this up, and it has a removable battery cell. That's a feature you don't really find with other lights, as it does make it a little bit more complicated. But this is 1200 lumen, and you can see almost identical in size, even with the removable rear. And finally, if you do want a more of a sharp beam cutoff, Magicshine is the Evo 1700. So much more unique style. So it almost looks like an old TV set. And a GoPro mount, so it's designed to be on the bottom, not on top. You can't really flip it. But very unique shape, and you can see great trapezoidal beam that won't have any glare for oncoming traffic, but you do have some artifacts at the edges. And they also have the matching EV 1300 with a little bit lower output, but you can see if I compare these two side by side, it has a much nicer sharp beam cutoff, which is really nice, especially if you're riding somewhere busy like a popular trail. Now let's go over the pros and cons for the RAVEMEN K1800. What we like about it is that it's very affordable, especially for 1800 lumens. And you have a very bright output with that wide beam shape. It's not really an anti-glare lens, but you get a nice wide beam that'll light up the entire trail. It's also nice to have the wireless remote, which lets you put the controls right next to your handlebar and then mount this light underneath an out front mount. Some of the cons for this headlight is the fact you have a very dim button backlight, so it's hard to see the battery status. And it feels really cheap with the white coloring and the glow-in-the-dark treatment. Also, flash mode is not separated from steady, which is a common complaint we have with a lot of lights. That means you have to cycle through flash to adjust the intensity. And it's a little bit odd that this headlight doesn't have a true on-off daytime flash mode, just has a nighttime low-high flash option. Taking everything into account, would give the K1800 an 8.8 out of 10. It's a budget-friendly headlight with some cool features. Thanks for watching this review. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can see more content from us on our website at thesweetcyclist.com, as well as follow us on Instagram at thesweetcyclist. This is The Sweet Cyclist reminding you to enjoy the ride.